I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I could go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome to District Divided, a DC sports podcast. This is your boy KDot. Once again, it's not here, still all the way across the world there in India. So I'm running this solo. I thought about bringing our guy Renal, or Widge Wear Your Helmet At, to come here and do the co-hosting gig with me, but he was so damn wrong. So damn wrong about what was going to happen in that Atlanta Falcons Washington Commanders game. I just didn't want that energy around us. So here, your boy with us, Dish Divided family, we're just going to celebrate this Victory Monday as the Washington Commanders are victorious at home against the Atlanta Falcons. What was the final score? 19-13, 6-point spread. Same thing your boy predicted on the previous episode. Still got the point total a little wrong, but it's what it is, right? But look, big time win. Not necessarily because of the opponent, not necessarily because of a lot of things other than the fact that we're continuing this winning streak. We're now sitting here 7th seed in the NFC playoff picture after that Seattle loss there on Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night or Sunday evening game, whatever, against the Raiders. So we're sitting kind of pretty. I mean, you look at the way the team itself is running and the way we had success. I mean, it's sort of the same blueprint that we've been having all season with the success with Taylor Heineke there at quarterback. My pick for the player of the game was Brian Robinson. He had over 100 yards in this game. He's looking like he's getting better and better. I think I've heard tell that ever since the shooting, his lower body's getting stronger as he's getting back into athletic form. And you can see that in every single one of the runs. He's getting harder and meaner with every single run. It feels like it takes 5 or 6 guys to get him down at any given point in time. He's just continuously moving the pile, getting the first downs when he needs to. He's running hard, and the more that he does it, I think more the vision is going to get there, and he's going to get to where it is it needs to be. But also, if you look at the things that really stand out to us as far as in this win streak, is also the defense playing at a really, really high level. Look, their words can't really put into describe how much better the secondary looks with William Jackson gone. And even with a game in which Brendan St. Juste was out, these guys still came and performed. I mean, it was much more of a bend, don't break defense. I mean, you look, Atlanta still had over 300 yards, total yards in offense. I think they outpaced us as far as yards go, but we didn't give up a whole lot of points. And if you look at the end, as far as the Kendall Fuller game-sealing interception off the tip from Daron Payne, look, the defense has been coming to play, man. There are a few moments in the game that looked very much unlike us in the sense of what we were giving up to Marcus Mariota at certain times, and also some of the lanes that were just opening up as far as the run game there for Atlanta. You could drive a Mack truck through some of those holes, and I know. If you look on Twitter, a lot of people were starting to do the screenshots of what it is they were doing as far as splitting the defensive tackles. You had 3 guys on Jonathan Allen a lot during the game, 2 guys on Daron Payne, opening up those lanes where that's when you need the linebacker, somebody to kind of step up and fill that hole to be able to get in there and stop the run. And that's been something that we've kind of struggled with. I mean, at least the way that we play the defense with not a lot of linebackers in the first place, just that second level is something that I think is going to have to get better, right? But, look, I don't want to criticize them too much because it's another win. And, look, they haven't looked entirely pretty, but the win is a win. We're in the playoff picture, sitting kind of pretty as far as we can kind of write our own destiny as long as we're winning these games. But I'd be absolutely remiss if I'm going with the criticisms, one last one. I was watching this movie the other day. Now, I know with YouTube, they have a whole lot of rules as far as copyright and stuff, so I don't want to get in trouble. But I have a little clip from the movie. It's just a short little blip. But I think it speaks really to my biggest criticism necessarily on the offense, and I'll play that right here.
What a lucky break for
Taylor Heineke,
who threw a bad pass that could have blown the game for Washington.
See, that was a movie, I think it's called The Replacements. Keanu Reeves plays this guy named Taylor Heineke. It's got Gene Hackman in it. Just great flick. Orlando was Orlando Jones, I think it was, used to be the 7-Up guy, had a few movies. He plays this guy named Clifford Franklin. Kind of reminds me of Terry McLaurin just a little bit. Maybe he's a little more. I don't know. But that's the thing. Taylor Heineke, beginning of the first half, or at the end of the first half, throws an absolutely abysmal football that gets picked off. Now, look, at the end of the day, Taylor is always there. I mean, he threw 2 more touchdowns than he did. He threw twice as many touchdowns as he did interceptions this game. But this is something that is going to be, and has always been my concern as far as this team goes. Taylor will make certain plays, Johnny on the spot, in crunch time that are fucking amazing. But they're also not really asking him to do much, because with the throws that he does have, he's not really doing a whole hell of a lot with the ball. I mean, if you look at the stat line there from this game, 14 to 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns a pick, quarterback rating 88. I mean, you want to keep the completion percentage at least a bit higher, but that's the thing. He'll go through these stretches of the game where just nothing's really happening as far as the passing game, and then he'll make one really key throw where the running game will kind of bail him out, or the defense will especially bail him out of certain situations. And I'm really hopeful that Taylor can start getting better as far as that stuff goes. Look, there's no better 50-50 ball receiver in the league right now other than Terry McLaurin. I mean, I'd probably say Justin Jefferson is the best overall receiver. But if we're looking at just the stats and the advanced analytics, there's no better 50-50 ball receiver in the league right now than Terry McLaurin. And I know you got Taylor Heineke puts all the T-shirts, fuck it, and throwing it. Terry's down there somewhere. And that's a huge thing, him having the balls enough to even make those throws. One of the biggest criticisms there with Carson Wentz, especially early in the season, just wasn't willing to do it. But I think what you're seeing is that outside of what it is that they're doing as far as throwing the ball to Terry, who I think also accounts for 40% of the offense as far as receiving, which is a ridiculous stat, we're kind of struggling in certain ways as far as in the passing game. And we can't really rely on the quarterback position to catapult us to where it is that we need to be and where it is we need to go. As far as like just having a quarterback that can drop back 30 times in a game and pass us out of certain situations. I just don't see it. And when you're looking at what the schedule's looking at coming up, I mean, we got the Giants twice. We got the Giants next week, then a bye week, then the Giants again. Look, as much as we might want to overlook the Giants, they still have a better record than us. They're sitting at 7-4 compared to our 7-5. We might be looking like we're trending upward, but it's not a team that you can overlook, right? Then if you're looking at the other games that we have that we're going to need to win a few of these to really put ourselves in the dance. After the 2 New York games, you got San Francisco on the road. Those motherfuckers are scary. You got the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson coming back. I'm not really predicting a whole lot from Deshaun Watson, but if those running lanes are the same they were in that Atlanta game, Nick Chubb will make you pay. And you got the Cowboys there at the end of the season, and we all know that's going to be a hell of a barn burner. I just need to see more out of the quarterback position, and that's the biggest criticism I probably have on this team. I do appreciate everything that Taylor Heineke does as far as getting the best out of everybody else. You could see it. It's infectious as far as the energy. I know that in defense, you're going to have Chase Young coming back, that's kind of the linchpin of energy there on the defense. You see him on the sidelines all the time, riling people up, even getting people more riled up when Taylor gets him riled up. And there's an intangible there that you can't necessarily even put some sort of figure on. There's no data there. It's an intangible, right? And that's the thing that I think makes Taylor Heineke so amazing. But look, at the end of the day, you just need quality quarterback play. And they're not asking a lot of them because you can't ask a lot of them. But with the little that they do ask, he's got to clean it up. You have to clean it up. That interception at the end of the first half, where you're driving down the field, you have timeouts, you have time to potentially put at least 3 more points on the board, is important. And stuff like that can't be left off the board when you're coming up against the teams that we're going to have to play and these division matchups that we're going to have to play and expect to do anything come playoff time. And I know for a lot of us, while it would be a huge linchpin to get in, because look, at the end of the day, when the playoffs start, as long as you can run the ball and pass rush against these quarterbacks, anything can happen, especially in a decidedly weak NFC. But what I don't want is another season where we're just above average or just above mediocre, slip into the playoffs, and you don't necessarily have a high enough draft pick to really get that home run grand slam sort of guy. They've done better as far as the draft overall, but, I mean, we just got to see. Now, I know this is sounding so negative for Victory Monday, and I don't want it to be. I think that what I want to do is do what I've done all season long, which I know you guys cannot criticize me for, which is being fairly medium on what it is this team is doing. I don't want to get too riled up. I don't want to get too low on the team. I want to know and set good expectations for what it is they're capable of doing. And look, if you look at it, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've been fairly right about this team. And I think that it's something that we all got to kind of understand, that there are limitations with this squad, but they're exciting to watch at some points. I mean, not all the games, some of these games are boring as shit, but they're a team that is really, really fun to root for. When you have a Taylor Heineke, when you got a Terry McLaurin, when you've got Chase Youngs and a John Allen and a Daron Payne, this is a squad that I'm proud to root for, and I'm always rooting for. And it's a team that you can feel the love and the excitement there in the air. It's very much like that movie, The Replacements, with Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves playing this guy, was it Taylor Heineke, Shane Falcon, one or the other. So, yeah, there's that. So, that's me as far as the game recap. Look, another step in the right direction. That's 3 in a row. The second three-win win streak, kind of buoyed by that Minnesota game in the middle, where if you look, 3-point win, or a 3-point win there for the Vikings, and you're looking at the Vikings overall, I mean, they don't look like world beaters, but they definitely look like a damn good team, so there's no shame in that loss. So if you're looking at, 6 of the last 7, trending upwards. Defense looks good. We're going to get some pieces back. St. Juste, who we've loved, other than kind of making some young mistakes. He's coming. We know he'll be back. Chase Young, they've been waiting, and I think that he'll add a whole other element there to it, especially if they're triple teaming John Allen and double teaming Daron Payne. Lord knows you're going to have a Montez Sweat and Chase Young to be able to eat and use that speed and power to get to the quarterback. And I'm hopeful Taylor Heineke continues to trend upward and doesn't do things. It doesn't have these stretches of bad moments in the game. But more than anything, also that rushing attack. Antonio Gibson, I think it's time to put the fumble thing to rest, even though I feel like I might be jinxing him for next week. Put it to rest. No fumbling issues there for Antonio Gibson. The same way Tiki Barber kind of changed that tune, right? Same way Adrian Peterson at one point changed that tune. I'm not saying he's as good as Adrian Peterson. Just saying. And then Brian Robinson, the healthier he's getting, the better it's looking. It looks as though as long as we're able to do what we've been doing and run that football, anything's really possible. I just want Taylor to step it up just a few notches, man. Now, I'd be remiss before I get into the comment mailbag not to at least touch on something, which is the Sean Taylor Memorial thing that Washington put up there this last weekend. Looked like it was a packed house there for it. It was very, very awesome to seeing Sean's family and his daughter there. And I know that there have been a lot of criticisms there about the memorial. I think a lot of it has been misplaced. People complaining about the soccer cleats, not knowing that Sean loves soccer cleats and wore them all the time. You even hear his daughter in the interview say that was one of those things with tears in her eyes that they nailed as far as her dad. I think that there is an onus because of who it is that runs this franchise, even though the clock's ticking, thank God, to want to criticize pretty much every and anything the front office does. And I think what you end up doing if you do that entirely too much is it kind of loses its value or it loses its meaning. You got to kind of pick your spots. There's no denying that there are certain aspects of that memorial that to me just don't do a good enough job really showing the love and admiration that this fan base has had for Sean Taylor. I mean, you look, he passed away how many years ago, and there's still not a guy my age, maybe a little younger or older, that don't look at him as almost a football god, a legend. A dude that was on his way to looking like a Hall of Famer before he was tragically taken away from the world. Look, I don't like that it was a wire mannequin, like something you'd find like an Under Armour factory. I think that we can do better than that. But you gotta kind of know when you're picking your criticisms there to be careful about it and don't be too overwhelming, because once again, it loses its meaning as far as what it is that we're criticizing when it comes to this organization. And trust me, they got a lot of things to be criticized for. But the one thing that I'd almost say, because even the what they used to do as far as the locker, having all this stuff there in the locker, I thought was a great memorial. I'm kind of surprised they went away from that. I always thought that was very poignant in the way they did it. But the only thing I could really hang my hat on and say it's a positive is that when the team sells and there's a new stadium, it'd be a lot easier to move this than a statue. So, bravo in that department. All right, I'm going to go into the comment mailbag there because we got quite a few comments from the last video. Usually Amit does this, so I'm just hoping I'm not all over the place with it. All right, so going to start off, what I'll try to go, no order. Just going to go in the order that it shows me on the YouTube page. All right, Blood Clot. Shout out to Blood Clot. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to switch it up on us and go pass heavy. They know we have a strong run defense. They know one of our starting CBs in St. Juice is out. And they know our linebacker pass coverage is our Achilles heel. Whether they're successful in this tactic is yet to be seen. But I think that's what they'll do. That's what I do. I predict 17-14 Commanders, but Falcons try to come back in the final seconds, lose the ball to our defense, and defense scores in the final seconds, making the final score 23-14. Blood Clot, you kind of nailed a lot of this. I mean, the final point total, just a little off. But, hey, the defense, while they didn't score the football, definitely they lost the ball to the defense there at the end. That was the game sealer as far as the Kendall Fuller interception off the Daron Payne thing. And you were right. They did look at certain points as though they were trying to attack us through the air. Just so happens is that with Calvin Ridley gone, with Julio Jones gone, with Kyle Pitts gone, and Drake London being the only guy, they just didn't have a lot of guys that could catch the football well, which thank God on our end, because there were a lot of clear, just outright easy drops in this game. But you're right. They came and they attacked. And I know that the New York Giants don't necessarily have world beaters at wide receiver, but we can't necessarily rely on the team being our opposing team being incompetent. We need to shore up some stuff in the pass coverage, and hopefully with St. Juice coming back, which I don't even know what his injury day. I'm hoping he's coming back. That we'll shore that up again. Tony P56, Tony. With BSG and Cole out on defense, the offense, mainly Scott Turner and Heineke, need to step up and rise to the occasion in this game. Let's cap it up for Jamin Davis for playing solid defense, and AG for not doing the thing he used to do. Pretty much right across the board. While I don't think this was... Scott Turner is getting a lot of credit from me as far as sticking with the game plan and running the ball. There are a few moments where you see like certain passes on first down that put us in minus territory. If they're incomplete, then you're trying to run, but then you're in a third and long if the run isn't there. Then I'm just hoping he just sticks with the run just a little bit more, but I know you can't do it all the time. Heineke, he did what he needed to do, but like I said, he needs to shore up some of those moments or some of those moments in the game where he's just inaccurate. And yeah, Jamin Davis, while I don't think I didn't see his number called a whole hell of a lot in this last game, maybe I was just missing something. He has been playing a whole hell of a lot better as the year has gone on. And I give Scott Turner a lot of credit for sticking with the run. Heineke, we've heard enough as far as that goes. VA Money Group. This was good. I agree with Brown's stuff. We can't have anything good. We're barely above 500 with the worst schedule in the league. Yep, Brown stuff being Widge wear your helmet at, not Amit. We won't consider him to be just the Brown stuff. It's like I said, it's almost battered wife syndrome, right? You can't trust this organization. You can't really trust this team to not let you down. I understand. I get it. Look, I am 33 years old. When we last won a Super Bowl, I don't remember it. I don't have memories that go back that far. And what I know is that in my childhood, I mean, I can't say that I remember too much about the early 90s in Washington, right? And, I was being a little facetious, little asshole of a kid. I was a 49ers fan when I first started watching football just because I guess it's because I wanted mommy and daddy to pay more attention to me. So when I came around to really understanding, like, hey, stop fucking faking it, you're a Washington fan, is right around 99, 2000 when Snyder took over. I think the first time I ever went to FedEx Field, the Cook family still owned it, but I think Jack had just passed away. And ever since then, any moment of goodness feels like it's always extremely short-lived, right? Like you think about the Joe Gibbs era 2.0, the promise that it kind of had with that. Still looking back, he's the most successful coach, I think, since we've had in the Snyder era. But there were so many little moments. I mean, even you talk about just the heartache, the Sean Taylor death, we talked about him earlier. The runs that we had to go on even to make the playoffs, and then pretty much you're out once you get in. And then when he left, and it was a wholesale change as far as the dynamic of who it is they went to as far as they're running the team. They didn't do what I thought at the time was the right decision in going to Greg Williams. They went and had to, they hired Jim Zorn to be offensive coordinator, then had to promote him because nobody else wanted the gig. Sorrow, right? You look at 2012, RG3, Alfred Morris, that team, Garcon, all those guys. Look like everything. It finally turned. Then RG3 gets hurt. Then you have the Kirk Cousins years, which were always just a glimmer of hope, and then everything just goes to shit. I get it. I understand not wanting to trust him. But I will say, as it seems as though the sun is setting on the Snyder era here in Washington, I'm willing to say that I'm going to believe that more good is coming to us than bad. And while I do think this team right now, as it sits, is not some world-beating team, I think we're much more in line with, like, if you want to even go to the furthest extent of it, we're more like those Giants teams that made those runs in the playoffs and potentially going to Super Bowl if you see that being the pathway. But I'll tell you right now, as far as just pure quarterback play, while I know that the guys believe in Taylor Heineke, I'd pick Eli Manning's arm over Taylor Heineke's any day of the week. I just don't think... I'm hopeful that, once again, pass rush, run the football, you can do anything. But I don't know if I'm that hopeful that we're about to go on a Super Bowl run. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to be surprised in that. But I get it. And the easiest schedule in the league, I mean, we all talked about it going into this season. This is where we knew we were going to get some of these wins. And I think we're getting into the territory in this season, the make or break. Who are we really? And the next few weeks are going to truly answer that question with the 2 Giants games, the San Fran game, the Deshaun Watson game, and the Cowboys again. We're going to know who the fuck we are. Pally for life. I guess post-win. Big win. Comms are white hot heading into a huge game against the G-Men before the bye. Forgot what it's like to play meaningful games in December. Let's go. Monsieur X. Yeah, man. We are white hot. I'm just saying it's not white hot in the sense that we're beating the shit out of these teams, but we're making the wins happen. And that does count for something, how it is you deal with adversity. Everyone could have lined up. I wonder what the win probability was there at the end of that Falcons game when they were driving there at the end before the interception. It looked like it was lights out. And somehow we pulled it out. And you need teams, or the pendulum's going to swing back and forth as far as what happens to some of these game-winning moments, right? You just want to be on the better end of it than the wrong end of it. And, hey, we've been doing that. 6 out of the last 7 weeks. We are kind of white hot. And last out, VA Money Group. Oh, he had a reply. Ron still must go. And in Reginald Burgess, Ron's not going anywhere. Don't kid yourself. I'd have to agree with Reginald. Ron's not going anywhere. I mean, even if there is a monumental collapse there at the end of this season, I just think the dynamics of where it is, the team is, looking at, hey, second year in a row you had a starting quarterback go down with an injury. They're still saying Carson Wentz isn't 100%, right? They're rocking with Taylor Heineke. I don't want to say you give him a pass, but you're going to give him some leeway. You're going to give him some room. And right now, when you have an organization that's up for sale, I doubt they're going to do too much to rock the boat as far as giving a new coach a contract, because usually when an owner gets in, he either likes to set up as far as the status quo, or he wants to make his own decisions. And I don't think you'll see any changes there until we have the new owner there in place. That was your comment mailbag. This has been an episode of Dish Divided. It's your boy KDot. I could do an after. No, I'm not going to do an after the pod. I'll leave you with this, though. The same thing I'm saying on every goddamn platform that I'm able to have. Andor is the best goddamn show on television. Please watch it if you haven't. I know Disney Plus, they're doing everything. They're putting the fucking show on like Hulu and ABC and everywhere to get people to watch it. Look, you don't have to be a Star Wars fan. You just have to be a fan of good quality television. And I think that's what sets this thing apart. Tony Gilroy killed it in this show. Much more in line with the writing you see on like the first 2 seasons of House of Cards, or a good espionage flick, or it's amazing. And I was talking to somebody here today, Brendan, who's been on the podcast, and I was dropping names. I'm like, people I don't think even know what this show is or what it's about. But, like, you see Diego Luna, which people have maybe a small amount of history there with him, going back to what it is they saw on Rogue One. But Stellan Skarsgård's in this show. Andy Serkis is in this show. Forrest motherfucking Whitaker is in this show. And I dropped those names to let people know it's a fucking streaming Disney show. And you're getting guys of this caliber really throwing everything they have into it. It's something special. And it's just, it breaks my heart that you got Disney trying to whore this show out because nobody's watching this thing. Where it is, in my opinion, if you have writers and you have quality content that exists, the onus is on us as the public to really support it. And I know that people get a little apprehensive about showing these big intellectual property, big studio houses, because of how sanitized to a certain degree some of the product is. But when you have one of these big studios, you have one of these big intellectual properties, doing it finally the right way, you gotta show them this is the way they need to do things. It steps up the quality for everything else. They have to know that the money, the viewership, is there for the good shit. It'll make them make more. They only care about the dollars and cents, baby. Unless they're HBO like 20 years ago where nobody's watching The Wire and they said, fuck it, we're going to still have this shit on. It's all about the analytics and the data. And I think what we have to do is when you see something that's good, you got to let people know. It's way too easy to just throw up some horse shit. Look what DC has done. Look at the fucking Morbius movie. It's just bad shit out there. Support the good shit. Support good artists. Support quality programming. And then we'll get more of it. That's the way these things work, okay? Once again, it's your boy KDot. This has been Dish Divided Victory Monday. Still got the shades on. About to turn on some Monday Night Football. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving week and weekend. Great job as far as the Commanders pulling off that victory. And onward to New York. Are we playing against them at home or away? Yep, onward to New York. And, like, share, subscribe, comment, get it all in there. Look, you comment good enough, you comment enough, you'll get the invitation to be here on the show, baby. I can promise you that shit. Just, let's go. Let's keep this thing going. Want to make this the biggest damn podcast in the DMV. KDot, out.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.